Good morning. My name is Kelly Wiseman, and I share this amazingly large business card for a moment to tell you where I came from. So first of all, I was born a military brat, but my father was raised in South Bend. So people ask me all the time, why did you come here? Because I moved here after being in Florida for 20 years. My career is 40 years in the health and fitness industry. Like Cindy, been around the block a few times, learned a lot of things, and ultimately my last job was as a wellness professional for an entire sheriff's office in Central Florida, where I was charged with reducing the healthcare costs of the agency. So you learn a lot of things in that space. And in reducing a healthcare cost, I thought, well, there has to be a cause behind all of this. Now, I can't talk freely about a lot of the things that I've learned because it can be very upsetting to people. So at that same time, something else was going on in my life that actually started the very time we were moving from Indianapolis to South Florida, when my husband had gotten a job down there. And my then 4-year-old daughter was in the car seat behind me, and out of the words of her little wee mouth were, "Katie Ladybug." And I thought, well, why did she say that? But at the time, we loved a lot of characters and we read a lot of books. And I thought, well, if Barney the Purple Dinosaur could make it, why not Katie the Cute Ladybug? Well, that was 1999. And for 20 years, I ruminated over this idea of what this character might be. Well, as I'm working with the deputies at the sheriff's office, I am realizing that I'm not getting through to some of these people. Now, we're talking about people that carry guns and tasers and make split-second decisions. And they're all jacked up on Red Bull, Mountain Dew, donuts, Monster. And I said, this is a problem, because if you call 911, if somebody calls 911 and this is the person showing up, you want to know that that person has it all going on. Well, they don't. And I was fully aware of that. Which brings me to awareness. Everything starts with awareness, and everybody in this room has a different level of what that means and what that is and how it shows up in this head. But I thought, isn't that crazy that ladybugs tend to get your attention? And I can't teach you anything if I don't have your full attention. You see a little ladybug crawling across the table, you can't miss them. It's like a stop sign. That became the purpose of my bug. I said, oh my gosh, ladybugs have a superpower. So I go around now when I'm talking about awareness, intention, practice, all of this, that it all starts with awareness. You've got to be aware of what is going on in this head all the time. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. Thought, feeling, emotions. They're going on all day long. Thousands of thoughts are running through your head right now. Some of you are thinking about what's for lunch. Somebody else is thinking about, oh, I got a sick family member at home. It's happening. But while I have your attention at this time, just know that I have a mission, and my mission is expanding, and I am always looking for other creators, and I see everybody in this room as a creator being. I don't care what religion, I don't care what sex, I don't care what color, I don't care what country you came from, I don't care what language you speak. We are all here on this planet at this time as creator beings. That's what I see. So that's just a little bit about myself. What am I willing to do if you needed my help? I love doing corporate wellness. I love sharing what I know, and I try to temper what I know to the group so that I don't trigger anybody's emotions. I love to do coaching, whether it's an individual or a group. Again, it could be at a corporation, could be at a church, could be, Red Hat ladies. I don't care. If somebody's willing to learn, and when I say this, what I'm really talking about is I am driven to teach people where disease came from. Dis-ease, also known as disease. That there's a cause behind all of it. And most of us have never been taught what that cause is. And those answers can be very emotionally triggering. I like to do special events. I started my career in the YMCA. My grandfather, Elmer Wiseman, was the CEO of the South Bend YMCA. He happened to have died before I was born. So again, my father's family was raised here. and very, very tied to Camp Eberhard. If anybody knows about Camp Eberhard, I'm a third generation, my kids are fourth. I am the author of Katie Ladybug. So you know Katie now, you've seen her. This is a prototype. I do not sell these yet because they're all made in China and I'd rather they be made in the United States. My book, Katie Ladybug, A Journey into Mindfulness. Some of you may or may not have met me along the way when I go out to events and I set up my red tent and I talk about Katie and Katie's mission. I couldn't be happier that this one is at the printer right now. This is my galley copy. This is the one that you get that says, okay, everything looks good, or oh my gosh, we still have fixes. So I will be launching this book on July 25th at Beyond Zen Yoga Studio in Granger. This is where Katie meets two lightning bugs. Who doesn't love a lightning bug? And they trigger Katie's emotions. And so all of my books are about finding awareness, discovering thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And in big words, this is expanding our emotional intelligence, because most of us in this country have never heard or been trained in such a thing. If you did, you had amazing parents, because most of us were denied all of that information. So I'll do guest appearances, I'll talk about creativity, but today I'm here to talk about Mishawaka authors. So now you know how I got here. Those are my books. I have to give credit to Matt Vogler. He is my illustrator, and Matt, he was a Disney animator. So I was very lucky when I was in Orlando to meet somebody that drew at that level, and he is creating a whole bank of amazing characters for me. And yes, they will all be bugs, and they will always go back to what Katie teaches in the first book, which is all about mindfulness. 5 years ago, as a military brat, you can only imagine how many times I have moved, and then in my career as well. So I have learned that when you go to a new community, you got to go out and you have to meet people. You have to introduce yourself and find out what they're doing as creators. I've met Mike along the way, and Deborah, and Cindy, and T, and now I've met Quan by coming here. So as you meet them, you realize, and I can hear it, like, oh, I see where your place is in my story, because you either have a space, or you have a thing, or you have a talent that ultimately I might be able to share with somebody else, if not use myself. So I created Mishawaka Authors when I got here. I was sitting right across the hall, actually, in one of my first signing events, and that is where I went around the room and said, I need to make a Facebook group. I now have 110 people in that group. We're doing a writers conference October 3rd. It's free. It's at the WNIT building, and we encourage anybody that has a story in their head to join us. We brand our events as Get Lit. Get lit with literature. You could get lit with coffee. You could get lit with some wine if you wanted to. But I am striving to collaborate. That's the reason I'm here. I want to collaborate because I know that a community is stronger when we collaborate together. Everyone wins. We should always be looking at that. If I win and you win, everything is great. How can you help Mishawaka Authors? First of all, now you know about us. We meet right here at this library once a month. Anybody's welcome to attend. It's the last Monday of the month, and we actually have people asking about the event because I wrote an article in Panoply in April that talks about Mishawaka Authors and how it came together. And then this summer's article is all about the Writers' Conference. So in those two magazine issues, you can read about Mishawaka Authors. Speak about our group. If you ever hear somebody talking about wanting to write a book or illustrate in a book or thought about publishing or anything in that genre, say, oh, there's a group. Specifically, I'm looking for someone locally, because I love Matt. He's in Orlando. He's a busy young father of 3. But somebody else that would like to work with authors locally that like to lay out books and illustrations. Adobe InDesign is one specific program that somebody would need to have that talent. I'm currently working with local printers. I couldn't be more excited. Down in North Webster, I am getting this book printed for about $5.50 a book. Right here in town, it was going to be $14.50 a book. So you got to shop around and find the people that are going to help you, obviously, with return on investment. Finding the places. So we started with Get Lit very before Christmas at the General Deli and Cafe in South Bend. They said yes. I saw that they had art hanging on the wall, and I said, well, would you do something with literary artists? And he said yes. So we had our first Get Lit event. We had 8 authors in there. People were invited to come in, get some wine next door, come over and chat with authors, and then it's our opportunity to sell our creativity. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all repaying ourselves for this craft because it is not a cheap craft. So if you know of a place that might like to be a collaborator, I'd like to know who they are. I'm not looking for renting. That is not a collaboration for me because I can't recover the cost of my book if I'm having to pay for a space. It just isn't working out that way. Looking ahead, I think I could create a group here called Mishawaka Publishing House, where we just help each other. It doesn't need to be an LLC, it's just a group of people that want to work together and help each other create. Now, on a bigger picture, I'm a part, thank you COVID, of a global collaborative of people from all over the world, of open-minded persons that are also looking for local creators, and we connect globally to be smarter together. But when it comes right down to it, the Center for Restoration Coordination is all about everybody deserves clean water, everybody deserves non-toxic food, and everybody deserves a safe place to live. And at that point, we all become winners. And if you can't get behind that idea, then, again, it's an awareness, but these things are choices. So send me those people. I want to know who they are, and that's who I am. And thank you so much for a moment of your time today. Okay, questions? Do I have time for that?
Yep.
Okay. Questions, thoughts?
I have a question, I need a list, tell me a list of what people you're looking for. So you're looking for authors?
Well, that would be for if somebody wants to be an author. Yes, they could be in the group. Anybody can be in the group. We have published authors, and we have people that are just thinking about writing. They have a story buzzing in their head.
And then aren't you looking for what else did you say? Local publishers?
Locations to have events.
Locations to have events.
So, and as far as publishers go, I can be a publisher. Anybody can be a publisher. You don't have to have a publishing house. You don't have to have an agent. It's one of the things that I learned as I was going through my first book, is that we have systems, built-in systems. We all live in systems. You didn't make the system. You were born into the system. And that a lot of our systems create or have gatekeeping. You can only go so far, and then you don't get anywhere, and you're treading water, and you're like, how come I can't get some traction with this? Or you just get a flat out no. I don't accept that very well. I will find another way to get a yes, or I'll do it myself. Yes, sir.
How easy is it for a person who's never written anything to become a published author?
Thank you. That is again, because I was that person. So, fun fact, in our Facebook group, and I don't have we do a quarterly email, but you do have to be in the Facebook group to know that we exist, because I don't want to spend all my time sending out emails. So I'll put together things, I'll drop it on the Facebook group, but you have to go looking, because remember, the algorithm doesn't allow you to see it all. But if you would start knowing that there are groups within this town that offer you stages of, hey, I want to write, and I can go to on Thursdays here in this library at 12:30, right down the hall is a group of people that you can read your writing to, and they will give you criticism. They will give you positive critique. Okay? At the Lang Lab, there are a group of people. There's a poetry group. There's another writers group, and I just discovered these again by being my Kelly Wiseman self, going around and asking questions and seeking. Oh, you've got that, and I do not want to be a gatekeeper. So I'm like, oh, you're doing the thing that I'm doing. Great, my people will want to know about your people, and maybe they will want to go there, and your people are welcome to be a part of our thing. Now, creativity is not linear, so especially even with making a book, I had a name, right? I had a name first. And then I said, okay, well, I know what a ladybug looks like. I can draw circles and with other circles, but I'm not going to look what happened when I met Matt. So I also learned that I'm stronger when I work with others. I can't do everything to the degree that I have an expectation for. I've kind of carried that excellence as my normal around with me for a while. So then I started writing a thought. It was a thought, it was another thought, it was another idea, and I would just scribble on pieces of paper. But when I found Matt, and this is just how it happened for me, and he drew that character, the famous Katie Ladybug sitting in Cross Lake Sit, he drew that right in front of me at a Starbucks within moments of talking to him. I said, oh my gosh, now I have to write this story. I have responsibility to the fact that he birthed this character for me. The book fell out of me in 2 weeks, but yet I ruminated on it for nearly 20.
Right.
So you have to see that creativity, if it's, and I do believe this now, if it's meant for you, it's coming for you. And it might knock on your door, right? It's ruminating in your thoughts, but there's something called divine right timing. I have been working on this book for a number of years, gatekeeping, bad products, shopping, more shopping. But now it's happening. And so I have to believe in divine right timing, that some things just need to have a pause because you need to do the work to get to the place. So any other questions?
Will you be here after for a
Yes,
while?
I have a massage at 11:45.